we are recording, and you got almost all the lines full, and everybody's here, so they're ready to go.
All right, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Superstar Recruiting Secrets with myself, Eric Worre, and MLM Rockstar, Mr. Tim Sales. Tim, welcome to this webinar. We have a lot of people on the line.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here with you, and it's quite an honor.
It's my honor, and you've been somebody who I've admired for so many years. You've done so much for the profession, working in the field, building huge organizations, and also training hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world on why we have a better way in the network marketing profession. Why don't you give everybody just a brief overview of your background for those people that might not know who you are?
Brief background. Okay. I'll try to do that. Brief. Just briefly, what it comes down to, Eric, is I was back in 1989. I was in the U.S. Navy Underwater Bomb Squad team, and then I answered an ad in the newspaper, kind of one of those hokey ads that they used to run back in the day, something like wear Italian-made suits, custom Italian-made suits, drive a fancy sports car, and if you have the courage to call, it can make you rich, or something like that. And so I answered that ad. And then I got involved with my one and only company up until recently, and I built, took me about a year to hit 20 grand a month, 60 grand a month by my second year, and then over 150 my fifth year. And so then I retired at that time. I started working with the whole industry. I did, by the way, take a year off chasing a little white ball around a golf course, but we'll leave that away. And I got back in and started working with the whole industry. I created Brilliant Compensation. My purpose behind that video was to raise the chins of everybody so that they could have pride in what they did. I saw people apologizing at every opportunity meeting that they got on. Somebody would be on the stage and they would apologize. And so I thought, wow, why are they apologizing? They're saying things like, you know, if it hadn't have been for this company, I wouldn't be in this industry, or something like that. And I thought, man, that's so not true. And so I created Brilliant Compensation to raise the chins of everybody. And then my next phase, what I wanted to do was help people with the professionalism and the way that they view their prospects. And I created something called Professional Inviter, and that taught people not to see their prospects as targets, but to see them as human beings, people who have dreams and people who have goals. And then Professional Presenter, of course, came after that. Very similar, just how to present. And did a real fun interview with Mr. Larry King. And what I was trying to do there was reach the highest pecking order that I possibly could in the journalistic world. See, if you hit the highest pecking order, then all of the journalists down below will not attack what the highest pecking order has already proven out, or so to speak. And so if they write something negative, then it's Wolfpack journalism. Everybody tags on and feeds it. But if it's a positive article, and then the other pecking order, if you will, the other journalists will look at it and say, you know, Larry did his due diligence on that, and can even write positive articles after that. And so then at that particular time, I really felt as though that I've accomplished, and by the way, I'm working real hard right now. We just got it approved through CNN that we can make that available out to the whole industry. And so that's going to be pretty much the next step there. And so that's a little bit about my background, man.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Well, tell me a little bit about, there was a moment in that Larry King interview when he kind of talked about the perceptions, the misperceptions that some people have about the network marketing profession, and what happened, how you responded to it. Because Larry King basically said to you what many prospects say to all of us in the network marketing profession, questioning the validity of our profession. And you know, what happened in that moment?
Okay, I'm not quite sure which exact moment. There was a couple of them. One is when he said, "What is a pyramid?" And then there's another time he said something to the effect of, is there, what's wrong with the image of network marketing? Which one are you referring to?
Well, both. Well, I just think it'll be helpful. I love response, especially, in a pretty pressure-filled environment. You hesitate a little bit too long on that answer to a question on Larry King Live, and it's a different kind of result. But how did you respond to both of those things?
All right. So to the question, what is a pyramid? What I basically had kind of walked Larry through, little brief background. He had gotten taken for $2 million by Bernie Madoff. And so he was a little bit hot about this whole subject. And so I came on to help him solve that riddle, and was able to do so by explaining and sketching out what a Ponzi scheme was. And then as it relates to network marketing, he said, now, one thing that I've heard is that one person gets another person gets another person. They're so focused on getting people that and that nobody's selling the product. And so I then read him something that I had from the Federal Trade Commission that showed that it was not illegal in any way for a company to have wholesale consumption only. In other words, it's not a requirement to actually have customers, because if you just think about it, Eric, from the corporation standpoint, and they're talking to the Federal Trade Commission, and they say, hang on a minute, aren't every single one of my distributors in this company a customer to me? And so it's very, very difficult. So I had just read to him this thing from the Federal Trade Commission, and then we got into the topic of, well, then what is a pyramid? And so I said, all right, well, here we go. We're about to tango. And so I basically sketched to him and contrasted the difference between a legitimate MLM business and a pyramid scheme. And all that I really did is I took him back, because, Eric, and this is, I hope, helpful to everybody out there who is listening, is that if someone asks you if that's a pyramid, what they just told you is that they don't know the definition of a pyramid scheme, and they also don't know the definition of legitimate network marketing business. And so if you educate them about both, then they can differentiate. You see, if you didn't know what a bus was, and you didn't know what an automobile was, and you didn't know what a motorcycle was, they're all the same to you. And so if you can demonstrate both to someone, they can see the differences. So that's basically what I did with Larry on the pyramid thing, and he fully got it. And then on the other one, which was the whole view of the industry being kind of down the nose, or sort of a viewpoint of it that it's rotten or not good, he just basically, through all of it, through the whole conversation, he finally just looked at me and he said, it must be very frustrating for you to work the way that you do, and for you to build, and for you to know that it's not illegal and it's not unprofessional, and to have people write articles about you or come onto the news and talk about you. It must be very frustrating. Well, that was the moment that I had chills running down my arms and out the top of my head, because finally somebody at his stature got it. He really got it, and he admitted it.